Alright, welcome back, Zolder Grand Prix. This is a fun track. It is a very technical track. It is going to take a little bit of practice to learn it, to drive it fast. If you are experienced with Zolder, there has been a track update since I've last been on, and it has made a few changes, and it definitely has changed things up a bit. Corner cutting here is not nearly what it used to be, so just be aware of that. As far as setup goes, boy, I, I'm not sure if I've nailed this or not. You guys let me know in the comments. I think I have put together something that works pretty darn good. I'm not sure if it's I'm quite happy with it. I will post any changes in the description, or if I'm posting a race, I will let you guys know if I've changed anything up. Ride height -10. The car has to be high here. There are curbs, sausage curbs you cannot cut. I don't think any ride height is going to get over them. They will launch your car into the air. But there are other curbs you do want to go over that are a bit disruptive, and so the ride height is quite high for this track. ARB is 0. We do not want understeer here. Damper compression 20. So we'll get into this. This is a change. Damper rebound stiffness is reduced to, I believe it's 4 clicks now. I think it's at 6 normally. Or no, it's at 0. It's at 0 normally. And it is increased to 4. Basically, the back end gets so light through so many of the corners here, through the braking and all that kind of stuff. This is just to help get weight transferred back to the rear, which leads into brake bias. If you know my channel, if you've watched my guides, you know my brake bias is usually quite high, I think, compared to most of you. At least that's what I get in the comments. This, however, the brake bias is really turned down. For me, normally I'm running maybe around 58%. It is down to 52, and you need all of that. Braking here is probably the most uh, highest requirement I've been on in quite some time. You really have to be able to stomp on the brakes, and surprisingly, it is not all that easy to lock up here. You can really have that brake bias low. If your brake bias is already normally quite low, you may not have to change it up too much, but if it is, you know, 53, 54, 55, you probably want to drop it down a percentage or two. Test it out, see if you're locking up too easy. It is surprisingly not that easy to lock up here, so you can really get that brake bias down. Spring rates, low as they go, front to end, back. Camber is turned up. Now there is a lot of subtle off camber corners here. They're not really off camber, but they are. Some of these corners are definitely not quite cambered to the corner, but you really do need to have that camber turned up. 1.9 on the left, you know my channel. Not always asymmetric, or not always symmetrical. 1.8 on the right, that's not really any big difference. Honestly, 1.9 on both sides is going to be just fine. 1.8 just happened to be where I landed. I thought it might change more, but I never did. Toe in 1.4, you definitely need a pointy front end. If I could get it to 1.5, I would. However, the garage will not let me do that. So you definitely want to have the toe in turned up. That's also going to help with braking efficiency and tire temps. So that is a good thing. 35 in the rear, so as low as they go in the rear. Camber turned up again on the rear, 1.4 on each side, and toe in 0.3. Yeah, tire temps also a little bit of an issue. So yeah, turning the toe in front or back actually would start getting the tires pretty hot. So I think that's kind of where you have to leave it at. Ride height 1 mil higher in the rear than in the front, -9. ARB 15. I did try this track with 20. 20 Surprisingly, I thought 20 would get you around the tighter corners better. In fact, I found it was getting me around the tighter corners slower, but it was actually getting me around the faster corners faster. So it's a little bit of a toss-up, but I did set my fastest lap with 15 ARB, and really the stopwatch is the ultimate judge. So I did stick with 15. Damper compression, again in the rear. This was normally at a 6, but it is reduced to a 4. Again, trying to get more of the weight shifted faster, easier back to the rear, just so it is not getting so loose through some of these corners, because it is very easy to spin it out here. Damper compression stiffness, rebound stiffness, 18. 14 liters, that should get you to the end. Hopefully there's a lot of participation if there's 2 or 3 splits and you are in the bottom one. If the lead car is not putting in stellar laps, 13 might get you to the end, but definitely bank on 14 liters. And this is probably maybe I don't think it's a first, but I think it's maybe the second time iRacing has their setup with a standard stack. It does work for sure, but I actually found that shifting gears, going through the corners in a gear I was happier with. I am actually going with tall. Give it a try. See which one you like better. It's not a huge difference in terms of which gear you're going through the corner, but it is. I find having the RPMs at a better point as you go through the corners. So yeah, tall is where it is at for me. Now we'll get into the testing or the track guide. It is slow. We'll run it out at slow-mo as usual. 37 degrees, so this track is temp for this season, or is high for this season, and 30% usage. That is the normal testing I'm doing it at. And we'll get into this. So one of the changes to the track here is this used to have Coke Zero and regular Coke signs, a black and red and a black and white signage, but now it is all just Coke Classic, which makes things a little harder for picking a braking marker and turn in. So basically looking for the third one from the end. Pretty important here though, for any of these corners you do not want to outbrake yourself. If you get on the brakes too late for almost every corner here, that means you're probably going to spin out or at least go off track. So really watch out for that. The other thing I will mention as well, this track isn't too punishing on cold tires. It's not like it's really slippery, but your times will not be stellar at the start. The bottom half of the tank is going to be significantly faster than the top half of the tank. So just watch out for that. Don't get too frustrated if your first 5, 6 laps, 7 laps are not stellar. The time will come off quite quickly as you get to the bottom half of your tank. So hard on the brakes, down into third gear, just before that third Coke, and then turning in kind of at the bend in the track here. This is a late apex. Releasing the brakes as you turn in. If you are hard on the brakes, you are going to spin out. And if you are coming in too fast, you are going to spin out. So this is a big change here with the track update. There used to be you used to be able to cut this corner. These little, I don't know what you call them, these little policemen here. They did not exist on the last time I was out here, so you could cut this corner quite a bit. Not this time. If you go over these, it is going to disrupt the car a fair bit. So it's best to keep it on the red and white curb there, picking up the throttle nice and early as you can. Running out wide way back when this was all cement, but the last update, the previous update, changed it to gravel. So yeah. You can use all of the green stuff on exit here. Just don't get into that gravel, obviously. So in third gear still, looking for the sand here on the left. getting onto the brakes, and then kind of at this orange marker here on the barrier, kind of using that as a guide for a turn in. Again, a very late apex here, releasing the brakes as you turn in. It is, if you come in here too hot, you're going to slide wide and have a whole lot of trouble. Came in here a little hot, had to do a little counter steer, but picking up the throttle nice and early, well before the apex. This is a big section of full throttle, and if you are coming in compromised there, you're going to lose a fair bit of time. Unwinding the wheel, these are not new, but avoid them. Again, they are very disruptive to the car. And then using the strip here, and you can get onto the green stuff. Keeping it in third gear, full throttle, and then turning in gently. You don't want to crank the wheel too much and scrub some speed, but turning in gently, just trying to shorten the track here, cutting the corner and getting that wheel straight, just so you're maximizing the throttle as much as possible, getting as much speed as you can. So up into fourth for a short time, and basically going to look for this service access road, the first one, and then braking at the start of the grass here. Little bit of brakes, down into third gear, and then again turning in gently. Again, if you crank the wheel here, you can spin it, and it is a late apex, but picking up the throttle well before the apex. Again, another big section here of full throttle. If you are compromised coming in here, you're going to lose a lot of time. And just unwinding the wheel, you can graze the gravel here with your tire, but if you get a full tire onto the gravel, it is an X. Big passing opportunity into this corner. Obviously, there's going to be some big drafting. If the car in front of you screwed it up, you are definitely going to catch up to them. Looking for the light pole here. In fourth gear, shifting down into second. Very hard on the brakes. This is going to come at you quicker than you think it is. Very hard on the brakes, and releasing the brakes as you turn in. If you are hard on the brakes as you turn in, you are in big trouble. These curbs are not your friend on entry. They are on exit. They're not too punishing, but on entry, watch out. They will send your car flying. So just cutting the corner there, back on the throttle again. This is very important because this is another big section of full throttle after this chicane. So picking up the throttle before you even get over the first one. And again, actually these ones on exit are punishing as well. You will put your car all four tires in the air if you get onto these guys. So do not do that. Right up against them as close as you can. And then, yep, just not even unwinding the wheel. Your car's pointed at the left-hand side. Just make sure you get your car turned back straight onto track. And then just work your way up the gears. Wide line here. I have been taking a wide line here. You don't necessarily have to take a wide line here, I don't think. That may have cost me a little bit, just extending the track there. So you can try taking a tighter line. This isn't really a sharp corner, so if that works for you, it might shave off a hundredth or two. And I missed my marker here. So looking for the red and white. Shifting down into second, again, very hard on the brakes. You want to get your car pointed at the red and white curbs. However, do watch out. This is going to be one where people are going for a pass, so just watch out for that. Very hard on the brakes, and then releasing the brakes as you turn in. Just like the other chicane, you do not want to be on the brakes as you turn the wheel. Now again, these ones on entry are quite punishing. These white sausage curbs. So watch out for that. And then also, I mean, if you cut this corner too much, you've got a whole lot of big problems, but you will get a slowdown as well. And then this one, you can get onto these curbs. Once the car is going a bit slower, these ones aren't as punishing. The only trick is your right-hand tire has to stay on the red and white. if you get all 4 tires on the green, you are going to get a really big painful slowdown, so watch out for that. And again, just as you get over those curbs, picking up the throttle again, and then you got to get that wheel left and then crank it to the right. Little lift on the throttle. You don't want to be sliding wide here. And then picking up the throttle as early as you can, unwinding the wheel, using all of the curb on exit here. And then just feeding it back in. This is a late apex. Don't get on those little bumps there. That's trouble. And then this left hand side is going to come at you faster than you think. Don't get lazy and straighten the wheel out too early. You will get an X. You will get onto the grass and get an X. So make sure you have that wheel turned a bit so that corner does not sneak up on you, or that side of the track anyway. Keep it tight to the left here. Just watch out, if you were on that curb and you get onto this grass, you will get an X. Not the end of the world, but don't want any more X's than you need. So looking for the 100 board, another big passing opportunity into this corner. So just before the 100 board, getting hard on the brakes, very hard on the brakes, shifting down into first gear this time. This is a very, very tight corner. It's also very important to get the car slowed down and turned in and get onto these curbs. If you are on the outside, if there's a pass going on, or if you just were braking too late and you're on the pavement, you're going to lose a tremendous amount of time. You can carry so much more speed if you get onto these curbs. Very important to get onto these curbs. And as well, you can pick up the throttle much, much earlier getting onto those curbs. So look out for that. Now there is grasscrete here on exit, and you'll probably need to use it all. It's not so visible, but it is there, and if you're on the grasscrete, there's no X for that. It does end up here though. Just make sure you are back onto the curbs and track, otherwise you will pick up an X there. And then just straight line this basically. Another big passing opportunity going into this one, of course. And looking for the light standard up here. I'm going to brake at that from fourth gear down into second, very hard on the brakes. Again, a very late apex into this one. You are leaving yourself open if there's a car behind you to invite them to try and make a pass. It's probably going to end in a crash unless you on the outside bail out of it. But it is, to go through here fast, you do have to really turn in late for this one. You have to get around these little white sausage curbs. You used to be able to go over these without too much trouble. Not anymore. They are lots of trouble. Down into second gear, and then picking up the throttle a bit, just gingerly on the throttle, and just like the last chicane, the second set of curbs is now you can go over them without too much trouble. And then yeah, just watch the throttle management there, and then picking it up nice and early. And again, there's grasscrete on exit for this one. It's a little bit more visible this time, and you'll probably want to make use of all of that. Just make sure you're back on track before it ends. And then just work your way up the gears, and then it is a battle to the line. There is a bit of distance to the finish line, so it is possible to overtake if somebody really ran wide through that chicane, got on the grass or something like that. So that's a 138.6. I really don't know how competitive that's going to be with the changes to the track, and it's been such a long time since being at Zolder. My optimum is a 138.2, but it's 5 sectors, a whole lot of turns, and it is hard to string together a really clean lap. So 138.6, I think that will be pretty competitive, but we'll see once we get into it. So I'll run this out at full speed. Hopefully see you out there. Hopefully participation is better, and we'll catch you next time.